The history of Kamala Harris, from prosecutor to vice president, and what's next. Let me start with a story. Picture this. You're climbing a mountain, one treacherous step at a time. The summit is hidden in the clouds, but you keep moving because you believe that when you get there, it'll all be worth it. Along the way, you make tough choices, maybe even choices you're not proud of, but in your mind, they're necessary to reach the top. Then you get there, only to realize that the peak isn't as glorious as you imagine. Instead of applause, you're met with scrutiny, criticism, and the haunting echoes of your past decisions. That's the story of Kamala Harris, the first female vice president of the United States, a figure as polarizing as she is groundbreaking. Her journey is one of ambition, controversy, and resilience. Whether you see her as a trailblazer or a cautionary tale, her story offers valuable lessons about power, integrity, and the consequences of our choices. Before we get started, what's up? My name's Nick Jackson, and my channel is here to give you insights on philosophy, psychology, conspiracy, and spirituality. If any of those topics are interesting to you, subscribe to my channel and make sure you like the video to help me out in the algorithm. If you have any thoughts on anything from the video, start a conversation in the comments below. I'd love to talk about the topic. Let's get into it. Kamala Harris's story begins in Oakland, California, where she was born to immigrant parents, her mother from India and her father from Jamaica. Growing up, she was surrounded by the civil rights movement, which shaped her views on justice and equality. But the question that looms over her legacy is this: did her actions as a prosecutor and politician align with those ideals? As District Attorney of San Francisco, Harris built a reputation as a tough-on-crime prosecutor. She famously championed policies that targeted truancy, holding parents accountable for their children's school attendance. Critics argue that these policies disproportionately affected low-income families, punishing parents who were often struggling to make ends meet. It raises a deeper question about justice. Should the law be blind, or should it be empathetic? Mahatma Gandhi once said, "An eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind." Did Harris's pursuit of justice blind her to the human cost of her decisions? One of the most persistent criticisms of Harris is the accusation that she slept her way to the top. This refers to her relationship with the former San Francisco mayor, Willie Brown, who appointed her to two political positions early in her career. While it's easy to throw accusations, it's worth asking, how often are women in power subjected to scrutiny that men escape? And does personal ambition justify the compromises we make along the way? The controversies didn't stop there. As California's Attorney General, Harris fought to uphold wrongful convictions, resisted reforms to the state's cash bail system, and declined to support independent investigations into police misconduct. Critics say these decisions reveal a pattern, prioritizing career advancement over meaningful change. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, said, "If it's not right, do not do it. If it's not true, do not say it." Did Harris stray from this principle in her pursuit of power? When Harris launched her presidential campaign in 2019, her initial momentum was undeniable. She had the charisma, the credentials, and the historic appeal. But her campaign fizzled before her first primary, largely due to criticisms of her record and an inability to connect with key voter bases. So how did she become the vice president? The answer lies in politics as old as the republic itself: alliances and strategy. Joe Biden selected Harris as a running mate, not because she was the most popular candidate, but because she brought diversity and experience to the ticket. And yet her tenure as vice president has been marked by challenges. With one of the lowest approval ratings in modern history, Harris has struggled to define her role and connect with the American public. According to a 2023 Gallup poll, her approval rating hovered at just 38%, lower than any recent vice president at the same point in their term. Fast forward to the 2024 election, Kamala Harris's bid for presidency was marred by a lack of trust, lingering controversies, and a divided Democratic Party. Her inability to connect with working-class voters, a criticism that has followed her since 2019, proved to be her downfall, as well as the fact that she didn't even need to win the primary. Donald Trump's victory in 2024 wasn't just a rejection of Harris, it was a referendum on the political establishment. Trump's message of populism and anti-establishment rhetoric struck a chord with voters who felt left behind. As Abraham Lincoln said, "You can fool all of the people some of the time, and some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all of the people all of the time." Harris's loss underscores the importance of authenticity and trust in leadership. What's next for Kamala Harris? Will she retreat from public life, or will she reframe her narrative and attempt to come back? History shows us that political comebacks are possible. Richard Nixon lost the 1960 presidential election and a gubernatorial race in 1962, only to win the presidency in 1968. But the road ahead for Harris is steep. To rebuild her legacy, she'll need to confront her past, address the criticisms head-on, and demonstrate a genuine commitment to the ideals she claims to uphold. There's a lesson in Kamala Harris's story for all of us. Ambition is a double-edged sword. It can drive us to achieve great things, but it can also blind us to the consequences of our actions. I remember a time in my own life when I was so focused on achieving a goal that I lost sight of the people I was affecting along the way. It took a moment of failure, a loss of my own election, so to speak, to wake me up and realize that success without integrity is hollow. Harris's story is not about politics, it's about humanity. It's about the choices we make, the compromises we accept, and the legacies we leave behind. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, but who does actually strive to do the deeds." Whether you admire or criticize Kamala Harris, her journey is a reminder that leadership is messy, ambition is complex, and the path to the top is rarely straightforward. As always, thanks for watching. Value learning, keep growing, and success will come. If you found this video insightful, share it with someone who loves diving deep into the complexities of life and leadership. And as always, let's start a conversation in the comments below. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Peace.